to me. I don't have to do that. Go ahead. Prove it. Shut up, Blair. You pompous, self-righteous pain in the neck. If there is a God, then give me a sign. Go ahead, show me.
Remember when NBC took the housekeeper from Different Strokes, gave her a new job as a house mother, school dietitian, and stand-in mom, then placed her in a dorm full of teenage girls? That was the facts of life. Charlotte Ray's Mrs. Garrett served both cafeteria food and life lessons, usually while keeping Eastland's drama-loving girls from fighting too much. Her girls became famous in their own ways. Lisa Whelchel played Blair, the stylish rich girl who always had a cutting remark paired with a smile. Kim Fields played Tootie, the talkative one who knew everyone's secrets. Mindy Cohn was Natalie, who delivered many of the show's funniest lines. And Nancy McKeon was Jo, the tough girl from the Bronx, who turned sarcasm into an art form together. They helped NBC run for 9 seasons full of crushes, arguments, and tons of special episodes. Even though it seemed wholesome on TV, there were some behind-the-scenes stories and strange facts most people don't know. Today, we're looking at 15 weird facts about the facts of life. The show that made boarding school seem way more exciting than it really was. Before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel reach more retro TV fans like you. Now, let's talk about the reboot that didn't happen. Let's start with number 1. The reboot that never happened. For years, people talked about a reunion. Fans wanted it. Norman Lear wanted it. Even NBC seemed ready to pay for it. And if you know how network executives work when it comes to making money off nostalgia, it sounded like it was basically confirmed. In 2021, the Live in Front of a Studio Audience special recreated the 3rd season. Episode Kids Can Be Cruel, and it got amazing ratings.
I'm gonna have dinner with Carl.
Hey, listen, if anyone should, I should.
No, Carl paid for this, and part of the package was a charming, lovable dinner date, and that's me!
Jennifer Aniston played Blair. Gabrielle Union played Tootie. Kathryn Hahn played Jo. And Allison Tolman took the role of Natalie. Ann Dowd perfectly played Mrs. Garrett. The cast had great chemistry, the nostalgia hit hard, and Twitter turned into one big watch party while it aired. It really seemed like a reboot was about to happen. A writer was hired, contracts were being worked on, Zoom calls with Norman Lear were happening. Yes, Norman Lear, in his 90s, on Zoom, trying to bring the facts of life back. That's how close it got. The Eastland girls were finally returning. Then came the betrayal. According to Mindy Cohn, one of the original cast members made a power move that made Blair Warner's most manipulative moments look small in comparison, secretly cutting a solo spin-off deal. Moves like that don't just stop a project, they destroy friendships and make shady social media posts look polite. Mindy didn't name names because she's too classy for that, but the damage was already done. Besides, most fans guessed it was Lisa Whelchel after what Mindy posted later. Maybe Mindy was a little pettier than we thought. Anyway, the reboot fell apart. Friendships were strained, lawyers probably got involved, and fans were left watching reruns instead of getting the reunion we hoped for. In the end, the only thing that got rebooted was our disappointment.
Number 2. Charlotte Ray exited like a legend. If you grew up in the 80s, Edna Garrett wasn't just a TV house mother. She was the adult who actually had her life together. She listened, gave advice, and never told anyone to just shake it off. Charlotte Ray took Mrs. Garrett from Different Strokes to the facts of life and made her the glue that held Eastland together. She served up life lessons, tough love, and cookies, in that exact order. By the way,
Hey, how'd your physical go?
Well, the doctor says it's safe for me to renew my magazine subscriptions for another year.
Yay!
For 7 seasons, she was the heart and moral guide of a show that was part sitcom and part emotional boot camp. But by 1986, Ray was ready to retire the apron. The girls had grown up, she was in her 60s, and she had done everything possible with the character, short of opening a chain called Mrs. Garrett's Crises and Casseroles. So she did something rare for TV. She asked to leave, and the writers actually gave her a proper ending. Mrs. Garrett reconnected with an old love named Bruce.
Oh, this is Dr. Bruce Gaines. I'd like you to meet Blair, Joe.
Then she got married, joined the Peace Corps, and flew off to Africa. Honestly, that's pure icon behavior. To fill the Mrs. Garrett-sized gap, the show brought in Cloris Leachman as her sister, Beverly Ann. And if you're gonna replace a sitcom legend, it might as well be with an Oscar winner.
Edna!
The Facts of Life ran for 2 more seasons and ended in 1988. Meanwhile, Ray kept acting, with guest roles on ER, Pretty Little Liars, voice work, and stage performances. She even beat cancer, wrote a memoir, and stayed in touch with fans until she passed away in 2018 at age 92. Charlotte Rae didn't just leave a show. She left on her own terms, with grace, humor, and a passport stamp. That's how you exit like a legend.
Number 3. Blair Warner said, "Not tonight, NBC." By the mid-80s, sitcoms were getting bolder. Even Different Strokes, the show that first introduced Mrs. Garrett and led to The Facts of Life, was tackling serious, very special episodes about tough topics like abuse. That same edge eventually reached Eastland. But there was one problem. Lisa Whelchel wasn't on board. A devoted Christian, she told the producers she wouldn't do that storyline and wanted to be written out. No compromises. No Blair learns a lesson rewrite. Just a firm no. So the writers changed direction faster than Blair dodging any kind of manual labor, tackling serious, very special episodes about tough topics like abuse. That same edge eventually reached Eastland.
Oh, Blair, your life isn't messed up. It's just begun.
Sure, and all I have to do is watch my mother to see how I'm gonna end up with the fairs and...
Season 9's The First Time ended up being the show's most controversial episode, but it focused on Natalie, not Blair. The whole virginity storyline took place off-screen, and Blair didn't appear at all. It was the only episode in the entire series where Lisa Whelchel was missing, with Blair conveniently written as being out of town. Which basically means if Blair wasn't part of it, she wasn't even going to be around to gossip about it.
Well, I can see I'm not going to get any peace until I tell you. You have to promise not to tell anyone.
Sure.
Okay.
Her absence said a lot. This was a line Whelchel refused to cross, and the show chose to work around her instead of pushing it. Sometimes the strongest thing an actor can do is simply say no and truly mean it. Number 4. Jerri Jewell made sitcom history. In 1980, Blair Warner got an unexpected visit at Eastland. Her cousin Jerri was coming to stay. Normally, Blair loved showing off, but this time she wasn't so excited. She was embarrassed because Jerri had cerebral palsy. That storyline might have been awkward for Blair, but for television history, it was a big deal.
May I help you?
I'm looking for Blair Warner.
You must be her cousin Jerri.
Yeah.
At that time, actors with disabilities were almost never seen on primetime TV. If they showed up, it was usually for a very special episode or a one-time inspirational role. Jerri Jewell changed that. She became the first actor with a visible disability to have a recurring role on a primetime sitcom. Jewell didn't get there the usual way. Norman Lear saw her performing stand-up comedy at the Media Access Awards and thought her talent deserved a bigger audience. Not long after, she was cast as Cousin Jerri in the fittingly titled Season 2 episode, Cousin Jerri.
A philosophy that I've come to understand over the years, that love and fear cannot exist at the same time.
That her disability wasn't a joke. Her sharp personality was. By 1984, her contract ended and wasn't renewed, which is Hollywood's polite way of saying, "We're done here." The timing couldn't have been worse. Soon after, her manager was arrested for embezzlement and securities fraud, leaving Jewell not only out of work, but also broke and without representation when she needed it most. A few months later, the show offered her a one-episode return in season 5, but her new manager refused it, calling it an insult. Jewell later said she would have accepted it, but by then, the chance was gone. The years that followed were tough. Jewell battled an addiction to sleeping pills and had to rebuild her life from the ground up. But she didn't fade away. In 1985, she spoke at the White House about disability and prejudice.
A philosophy that I've come to understand over the years, that love and fear cannot exist at the same time.
That moment kicked off her second career as a motivational speaker and a consultant for Fortune 500 companies on disability inclusion. In 2004, she earned a recurring role on HBO's Deadwood as Jewell, a character she helped create with showrunner David Milch, who asked for her input on how to realistically portray someone with cerebral palsy in the 1880s. She later returned to the role in a 2019 film. In 2011, she released her autobiography, I'm Walking as Straight as I Can, which won several awards and shared her frustrations with Hollywood's limited casting choices. Jerri Jewell didn't just break barriers on the facts of life. She spent decades proving that one sitcom role would never define her.
Number 5. The cast was under brutal weight pressure. Nostalgia likes to paint the 80s as all neon jackets, synth music, and good vibes. But behind the scenes at Eastland, the pressure was very real. The cast faced constant criticism about their bodies, not just the usual Hollywood kind, but actual, documented, embarrassing scrutiny. Several cast members have since spoken openly about what they went through. Mindy, Cohn, who played Natalie, was directly told not to lose weight. Her character was meant to be the chubby one, because apparently every sitcom needed one heavier character for contrast. And heaven forbid she actually lose weight and mess up that visual balance.
I don't have to do that anymore. Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa.
Even when Cohn lost a little weight during a break, just naturally like anyone might, producers told her to gain it back because it didn't fit the character. Lisa Whelchel, on the other hand, was pushed to lose weight. She has admitted that she was sent to fat farms more than once. Yes, real weight loss camps that actually use that awful name. She had to go through daily weigh-ins, almost like a boxer before a fight, and sit through endless nutrition and therapy sessions arranged by producers who treated her weight like a production issue that needed fixing.
Every bone in my body hurts. My arms, my legs, my back, my nose.
Kim Fields has kept her experience more private, but considering the atmosphere on set, it's hard to believe she wasn't affected too. Nancy McKeon later confirmed what should have been obvious. All the girls felt the pressure, no matter their size. And as if the behind-the-scenes stress wasn't enough, Joan Rivers made things worse by calling the show the fats of life in her stand-up routine. It was a cruel joke that stuck in people's minds and probably made every cast member cringe whenever they heard it. Thanks, Joan. Really helpful. What looked like wholesome fun on TV actually came with daily weigh-ins, fat farms, and public embarrassment. The message to young viewers was love yourself. The message to the cast? Just don't do it like that.
Number 6. Mindy Cohn sang backup from Michael Jackson. If you've ever listened to Michael Jackson's Thriller album, and honestly, if you haven't, please explain how you managed to avoid every roller rink, school dance, MTV countdown, and wedding between 1982 and 1989. Then you've also heard Mindy Cohn. According to Cohn, in 1982, Quincy Jones invited her and Janet Jackson to the studio to record background vocals for PYT, Pretty Young Thing. Hidden inside Thriller is Cohn's uncredited cameo.
Where did you come from, baby? And ooh, won't you take me there?
She's mentioned it in interviews, saying Quincy just put her in the booth, told her to have fun, and that was it. No paperwork, no credit, and no royalty checks showing up years later. Just a wild moment in music history where Natalie from Eastland ended up singing on the same track as the king of pop. The kicker? Most fans have no clue. You could listen to PYT 100 times and never realize you're hearing the voice of the girl who used to crack jokes about pizza and Mrs. Garrett's cooking.
Turns out Natalie had more range than just one-liners and sarcastic comebacks. She just needed Quincy Jones to bring it out of her first. From Eastland to Thriller in one recording session. Not bad for a Tuesday.
Number 7. The theme song had pop star DNA.
When your books are what you're there about, but looks are what you care about.
If this version of the theme doesn't sound familiar, that's because it was short-lived. It only appeared during the first season.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Now that's the version most of us remember, the one that felt like the musical version of a warm hug and a perfectly made sandwich.
Take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life.
It was written by Alan Thicke. Yes, Robin Thicke's dad. This theme is so deep in pop culture that you could probably sing it in your sleep. You take the good, you take the bad.
Suddenly you're finding out the facts of life are all about you.
The message was simple and clear. Life can be messy, but you'll figure it out in the end.
It takes a lot to get 'em right when you're learning the facts of life.
If you grew up in the 80s, this theme probably played in your house hundreds of times. The show went through cast changes, new hairstyles, and different wardrobes, but the theme song stayed rock solid. Number 8. Mindy Cohn's casting was a happy accident. Some people fight their way into Hollywood, but Mindy Cohn basically stumbled into it. She was just a student at Westlake School for Girls in LA when Charlotte Rae and the producers came by to observe real teenage life for their new show.
We went to that school that this producer's daughter had gone to.
Yep.
What was the name of it?
Westlake?
Westlake, yeah.
Apparently, in 1979, writers couldn't just, talk to their own kids. The school needed someone to guide the campus tour, and Mindy got the job. By the end, Charlotte Rae was basically her hype woman, laughing at her jokes, loving her timing, and insisting that this girl needed to be on the show. The producers listened, and just like that, Natalie Green was created from scratch.
To be awarded to a student of Norwegian ancestry whose father is a member of the Plumbers Union.
And yes, the name had a sentimental story. Rae asked that Natalie be named after her own childhood best friend. So Mindy not only got written into the show, she got a character named straight from Charlotte Rae's memories. How cool is that? But here's the kicker. While most TV kids had on-set tutors, Mindy's mom told the studio, no, she's staying in regular school. That meant filming after classes and then doing 4 hours of homework every night.
Lightning has nothing to do with a man coming at you from the bushes.
Of course not, Natalie. But fear is fear. It has to be overcome.
Mindy later joked that it made her feel like a 40-year-old trapped in a 17-year-old's body. Not exactly the Hollywood dream, unless your dream is doing algebra at 11 p.m. after performing in front of a live studio audience. All right, let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this stroll through the halls of Eastland, be sure to like and subscribe. We share weird facts and forgotten stories every week, because someone has to keep the memory of 80s sitcoms alive. Now, let's get back to the countdown with number 9, Totes Pop. By 1984, Kim Fields was already a household name as Dorothy Tootie Ramsey on The Facts of Life. And like many teen stars in the 80s, she decided that sitcom fame wasn't enough. She wanted to sing, too. Her debut single was He Loves Me Not. But the real story was on the B-side, a cover of Michael Jackson's Dear Michael. This wasn't just a random pick from Michael Jackson's catalog. Kim actually knew Michael through her friendship with Janet Jackson. And her mom, Chip Fields, had even played Janet's mom on Good Times. So when Kim recorded Dear Michael, it felt less like a marketing stunt and more like a genuine tribute.
Every time your record's on, Michael.
Michael's 1975 original was basically a fan's love letter to him, set to music and released as the B-side to Just a Little Bit of You.
You probably never get this better, Michael.
Kim's version was a simple remake with the pronouns changed. Same feelings, just from her teenage perspective. In other words, it was part tribute, part teenage dream pressed onto vinyl. While her singing career never outshone her acting, Dear Michael reached number 50 on the R&B charts, beating Michael's original, which never charted. The song didn't make her the next Janet Jackson, but it showed that Kim Fields could do more than gossip her way through Eastland. She could hold her own on the music charts, too.
Number 10. A future teen queen was let go after season 1. Before she became America's teen queen in 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Pretty in Pink, Molly Ringwald was just another face in the crowded halls of Eastland. She played Molly Parker, part of the original season 1 ensemble alongside Blair, Tootie, Natalie, and a bunch of other girls whose names you probably don't remember. Honestly, season 1 had way too many characters, and it was hard to keep track of who was who. By season 2, the producers made the classic sitcom move: trim the cast, tighten the focus, and hope the ratings follow.
I can't even pronounce the one they put me with. Joanne Polniazek. I hope she brings along an interpreter to help me with that name.
It's Polniacek.
The cast was reduced to a core 4, and Molly didn't make the cut. At just 12 years old, Ringwald was told she was too young for the show's more mature direction, meaning they wanted storylines about dating and SAT prep, not a middle schooler asking what prom was. Enter Joe Pitchick, the tough motorcycle-riding character the producers specifically created to clash with Blair.
She must think we're into nostalgia. She's still wearing flared jeans.
In a minute, you're gonna be wearing flared teeth.
Suddenly, the show had a tighter, more dynamic core cast. Ringwald was actually offered the chance to come back for occasional guest appearances, the same consolation given to other season 1 cast members who were cut, but she and her mother declined. In a 2019 interview, Ringwald described the experience as humiliating for a 12-year-old, and admitted she didn't want to stay on as a semi-regular after being dropped from the main cast.
Yes, I decided I'm gonna be the Joan Baez of the 80s. Listen. The skies are junky, the legs are chunky, the oceans are gunky, I feel like a lab monkey.
Her final appearance was in season 2's The New Girl Part 2, and then she was done. While other cut actors came back for guest spots occasionally, Ringwald walked away completely. Molly Parker disappeared without explanation. No goodbye episode, no heartfelt transfer scene, just poof, gone. Classic 80s sitcom efficiency. For Ringwald, the sting of losing a sitcom role at 12 didn't last long. Within a few years, John Hughes picked her for the movies that defined a generation. Being dropped from the Facts of Life hurt at the time, but it freed her to become the face of teen cinema. Eastland's loss was John Hughes's gain. Sometimes the best career move is the one you didn't plan, especially when you're the one who chooses to walk away.
Number 11. What was up with Tootie's roller skates? If you ever wonder why Tootie was always rolling through Eastland on skates in season 1, showing up to every scene like a tiny gossiping tornado on wheels, here's the reason. Kim Fields was only 10 years old when the show began. Let me say that again. She was 10.
Ah, there you are. No sales, sister. Don't look for no action here.
Was impossible to miss. Like, how is this child in high school? Obvious. So the producers came up with a fix. They put Fields on roller skates. The extra height helped balance out group shots and kept her from looking like someone's little sister who accidentally wandered onto the set. For an entire season, Tootie lived on wheels, skating into the kitchen, down the hallway, and even into serious talks about life and feelings. Always skating, because apparently that was totally normal dorm behavior. By season 2, though, the gimmick was gone. Fields had a growth spurt, and the skates weren't needed anymore. Tootie could finally walk like a normal person, and no one ever mentioned the roller skates again. Once Fields grew into the role, the wheels came off, and Tootie sped tall on her own. Sometimes the strangest character quirks come from simple behind-the-scenes fixes for height and child labor rules.
Number 12. George Clooney was fired and rehired. Before ER made him a heartthrob, before Ocean's 11 made him Hollywood royalty, and long before he became the kind of actor who earns millions selling coffee machines, George Clooney was just the handyman on The Facts of Life. He joined the show in 1985 as George Burnett, fixing pipes, painting walls, and rocking that glorious mullet like it was an actual fashion statement.
I get mad, I crumple it up, but I can't throw it on the ground because I don't want to be a litter bug, you know what I mean. So, I put it in my pocket, I forget about it. I toss the jeans in the washer, it clogs the filter. Next thing you know, I got a guy from Sears, $75.
The whole ordeal was classic Hollywood chaos, part miscommunication, part ego clash, and part contract technicality. Still, it didn't slow Clooney down for long. Getting fired from The Facts of Life might have stung at the time, but in hindsight, it was just another plot twist on his road to superstardom. Sometimes you have to get written out of one show to become the leading man in the next. Number 13. The show tried, and failed, to launch 7 spin-offs. Throughout its 9-season run, NBC looked at The Facts of Life and said, "You know what? Let's milk this for everything it's got." Producers spent years throwing spin-off ideas at the wall like they were testing pasta. 7 backdoor pilots, 7 swings at the next big hit, and 7 attempts to capture lightning in a bottle twice. Season 2 gave us Brian and Sylvia. Tootie and Natalie visit Aunt Sylvia and her husband Brian, played by Chip Fields, Kim Fields' real-life mom, and a pre-MacGyver Richard Dean Anderson. The episode was designed to set up a new sitcom about an interracial couple navigating life and family with humor and love, a bold concept for 1981. NBC liked the idea in theory, but when it came time to commit, they got cold feet. The verdict? Too ahead of its time. Translation: Middle America wasn't ready.
I just don't get it.
I can't talk to you when you're yelling.
You think I'm yelling? You want to hear yelling? I'll give you yelling! Who is it?
Played by pre-MacGyver Richard Dean Anderson, back when mullets and interracial relationships were considered edgy TV. The episode aired, flopped, and NBC acted like it never existed. Season 3 tried The Academy, a boys' military school version of The Facts of Life that had zero charm. They also tested Joe's Cousin, about her Bronx family, but it never got past the pilot. Season 4 circled back to Stone Academy with The Big Fight, another miss. Then came Graduation, teasing a college version with Blair and Joe, which went nowhere. By season 9, they gave Natalie a Soho loft and some quirky roommates in Big Apple Blues with Richard Grieco. That one tanked too. 7 spin-offs, 7 fails.
I said I've decided to stay. They need a roommate. I need a change. Well, how do you know that they even want you?
Can you pay rent?
Uh-huh.
We want you.
The episode was okay, but no one was begging for Natalie Does Soho to become must-watch TV. Finally, the 2-part finale had Blair buying Eastland and becoming the new headmistress with a fresh group of students, including Mayim Bialik, Seth Green, and Juliette Lewis. That one seemed like it should have worked. Talented young actors, built-in nostalgia, and a natural next step for the story. But nope, NBC said no.
Even nostalgia has its limits. 7 tries, 7 failures. The facts of life stayed where it started. Sometimes lightning doesn't strike twice, or 7 times for that matter.
Number 14, Mrs. Garrett was a mail lady. Long before Charlotte Rae became everyone's favorite house mother at Eastland, and before she was giving advice with a batch of cookies, she was already teaching lessons, literally. Rae played Molly the mail lady on Sesame Street, helping kids learn about letters and words while delivering the mail.
Want to push?
Sesame Street has been brought to you today.
She even helped introduce the letter M in the early episodes. Get it? Molly M. Mail M. Sesame Street wasn't subtle, but it worked. Rae later said she loved those early roles because they mixed education and performance. Perfect for someone who would spend the next decade teaching life lessons to sitcom teens. Parents trusted her since she had already taught their kids the alphabet, and kids loved her because she felt like a caring TV aunt. By the time The Facts of Life spun off in 1979, Rae had plenty of practice shaping young minds on screen, even if the ones at Eastland were older and way more dramatic.
Number 15. The Drummonds couldn't stay away from Eastland. Yes, The Facts of Life was technically a spin-off of Different Strokes.
I was gonna ask you the same thing.
But the Drummond family didn't just wave goodbye to Mrs. Garrett at the penthouse door. They kept popping up at Eastland like it was their second home, turning the spin-off into a mini family reunion. Arnold and Willis showed up in season 1, with Gary Coleman cracking jokes among a bunch of prep school girls like he ran the place.
Ow! You lied to me. We're not brothers anymore. From now on, we're distant cousins.
Oh, come here, Arnold. Now, what's this sudden aversion to girls?
You call my whole life sudden?
Here's the twist. Despite that, she was never made a regular cast member. Why? Because Dana Plato was too important to Different Strokes to be loaned out full-time. NBC wanted The Facts of Life to stand on its own, not feel like Different Strokes, the boarding school years. The funny part is, a few seasons later, Kimberly was written out of Different Strokes completely, but that's another story. Even Mr. Drummond made an appearance or two at Eastland, not because the show needed him, but because NBC wanted to remind viewers the two series were connected. In the end, those crossover moments worked. They linked the shows just enough for audiences to believe in the connection. And, fittingly, the spin-off ended up lasting longer than the original.
Don't move. I want to forget you just the way you are.
The Drummonds had the penthouse, but the Eastland girls had 9 seasons of staying power. And there you have it, 15 weird facts about the facts of life. Which one surprised you the most? Did we miss your favorite hidden gem from Eastland history? Tell us in the comments below. We actually read them, and sometimes even reply like real humans, not the AI you think we are. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic deep dives into the shows that raised us, embarrassed us, and left us humming theme songs decades later. Until next time, this is Remember When.